Well, hello everybody. So we're keeping it fairly short today. Fairly, I say unto thee. And I still have these out, so I'll pull one of these. And then I'll pull one of these. And then I'm going to get some food. And then I am going to go about my day, question mark. It's almost Scorpio season. So we are maybe like now an hour and a half away because that was almost a 2 hour video. Maybe it was more than two. I don't know. Today is like one of those flowy type days. Energy is just flowing. I'm starting to warm up a little bit internally. Also, I'm wearing some fairly thick sweatpants. Ooh, the promise. The promise and higher. No, the promise and reflective truth. Oh, that's interesting. It almost feels like I promise that you'll understand by the end of this. If you stick with it, it starts a little weird and wonky, and there's a certain point where you don't know what's going on or what's happening at all. But if you stick with it, eventually it'll make sense. I feel like I've said that. I can't find my phone, so I don't know exactly when Scorpio season is going to happen, but can I get a card for the Hammerfish? Ooh, thank you. Bottom of the deck is Empowerment, number 13. Empowerment. The card that came out is, Liberation, number 26. Liberation and empowerment. I mean, this is gorgeous energy. A little bit of liberation, a little bit of empowerment, a little bit of wait. Let's read Liberation. I don't think I've ever read Liberation before. Let's get into it. Oh, wait. 13 and 26. 13 times 2 is 26, isn't it? Interesting. Is it, though? I think so. Okay. Liberation. I'm not. Well, yeah, I am. Liberation. This image is connected with the rainbow white color ray. Liberation resonates to that of complete realization. Okay, see, I like these messages over here. If you can't see it, I'm sorry. Oh, empowerment. That's literally the card at the bottom of the deck. Okay. Liberation. I'm sorry. I'm a little hyped today. It's fine. Liberation resonates to that of complete realization of inner empowerment. This sacred ray represents total harmony. Hold up. I got to shift some things so I can actually read this. Here we go. Of empowerment. This sacred ray represents total harmony, fulfillment, power, and the ultimate joy of communion with one's soul and its purpose. I think I said communion with spirit earlier today when I was talking about that door to spirit in reverse. Legacy channel. Coming fresh off of the Legacy channel. The sacred ray, I already read that. It fully embodies all elements, fusing together in a divine mosaic. This uplifting ray motivates a forward momentum of initiation frequencies to unfold an eventual arrival to self-attainment. No one can truly take your power unless you allow it. So, if you've experienced powerlessness, Spirit is asking you to remember who you are and reclaim your power. Step up to your true potential, and in your current situation, wait, what? Step up to your true potential. What? Step up to your true potential. Oh, okay. It's a comma. I thought it was a period. I'm sorry. I'm like, wait, this don't make sense. Step up to your true potential, and in your current situation, take the initiative. Be assertive, but also be loving. It's time for you to be free and be empowered. There's empowerment again. This may be your time to celebrate your achievements in life or Release from those things that are no longer serving you. Opal and rainbow fluorite are the crystals with cajeput as the essential oil. I probably did not pronounce that right, and I've never heard of it. Cajeput. Let's read empowerment. Why not? I'm not going to hold this one up though. So empowerment is grounded strength and stamina. I talked about that in the nine of with the nine of wands, leading to the nine of wands and the knight of cups at the end. Inspiration. Uh, I was like, she got the strength and stamina to go all night and all day. Empowerment resonates to the grounded strength of the blessed divine feminine. This sacred ray births a mighty tower of earth, but endowed with the heavenly angelic powers of unwavering love. This motivating ray encourages stamina and reminds all universal and dimensional warriors of light that divine love is the most powerful force of all. Strength is necessary right now to persevere. You are being asked to step forward, move ahead, and take action with more powerful energy. Call upon your divine feminine side to assist you with grounding and bringing balance to your situation. Divine love and magical energies are supporting you, and it is a time of action. You need to have confidence and belief in yourself and be solid in your choices. Boji stone and moonstone are the crystals, with clary sage being the essential oil. That is some interesting energy. Interesting energy, is it not? And then I'm going to get a few of these Disology cards, and I'm actually going to call it a day right there. We're not going to be on here forever because I don't think it's necessary. And it's interesting because, again, I feel like this space kind of sort of leads the other space a little bit. Oh, wow, that just flew up, turned over, and went back down. I think another one did the same. Did y'all see that? I don't know. Maybe I did because I was shuffling it like this. Maybe it didn't. Who knows? I think there's another one that turned over. And so in the beginning, it felt like things were a lot like harsher on this side of my energy, I guess. And on the other side, it was a lot softer. But now we're coming into this period where on this side, it's softening up and it's getting a little harsher over there. I guess there wasn't one turned over because it's like one leads the other. And it's honestly, it's whatever we're ready for. I kind of sort of started talking about it. I don't know if I fully finished it, the sentiment or the thought on the Legacy channel earlier today, but I have a lot of fixed energy in my chart and I'm really, really, really slow to move. And I'm the type of person who doesn't operate off of singular reasoning. And by that, I mean, if I do something, I have more than one reason to do it, right? So sometimes I wait for multiple reasons before I make whatever decision I make. And so because of that, in order to get me to where I need to be, it's like spirit is working with me in that some energies I kind of sort of feel a little bit earlier. Not only because I try to attune myself more to the spiritual and the energetic, and I'm a Pisces, so I'm just naturally connected to more collective, subconscious, more ethereal energy, less grounded energy. More like this is a potentiality that can be, but because of that, and because of, I don't know, my Taurus moon and rising, I guess I can kind of sort of ground myself. I have the ability to elevate from that old Pisces Taurus energy that I would get stuck in and come into this new energy where I can ground myself in a frequency that is better. So anyway, to do that, I'm just connected to things that are a little bit more energetic in nature and a little less outside of immediately happening right now because it takes me a long time to do stuff. And so for me, I feel like there are some things that I've been sort of saying and been feeling led to since like the beginning of the year. But again, it's put me in a position to, since I'm not necessarily having to do it in the moment where it's critical, it gives me the time to work through it at a little bit of a slower pace rather than like trying to make all of these huge changes within a shorter amount of time. And so if someone comes across me And I was just thinking about it earlier. If someone comes across me or if I come across them, then it's like this, I guess, ability to perhaps get a little bit more time than like, hey, this new moon is happening, this full moon is happening, and now we're in this energy of complete and total whatever, or like now we're in this energy where everything is falling apart because this and this and that is happening. If I can like some of this stuff feel like months in advance, or at least a little bit in advance, it gives us time to work at a little bit of a slower pace. But again, it's like I'm the type of person that I've grown my own intuition and my own trust in my abilities and in my connection, that I know that like, hey, even if this isn't something that I see immediately, this is something that I'm going to need to pay attention to because if I don't, it'll be a lot more difficult for me later on. So I just try to make it easy on myself by listening to spirit when spirit talks to me. Um, anyway, and so I feel like I don't know. Sometimes it is a little bit of a heads up. Sometimes it ain't. I don't know. I'm just grateful and appreciative that in this year I've been more intent, and because I got my good girlfriend, my lady friend that I started my journey with, and because we have each other, and we're like, it's like I feel so fortunate to have a journey buddy that I could literally from when I started, when I had my darkest night, it was like a month or 2 months after I had my darkest night. I think it was a few weeks because when I was in London, I was actually talking to her because we reconnected. So we both had our darkest nights around the same time, and we both started our journeys around the same time. And so from the beginning, we've had each other and we've continued to evolve and progress in these complementary ways where sometimes like we're not exactly in the same position or learning the same thing, but like I'll be learning something that she'll come into the space of learning later. So I'll have my experience of learning it to sort of like offer her a perspective. And then like there'll be things that she learned that I'll be in the process of learning, and then she can do the same. And again, it's like we take it as a perspective, but we still like we're different people and we know that. And so again, like some of it is similar, but we allow each other the permission and the space because we hold that knowing of like it's not going to be the same. Right. Anyway, it's just lovely to have somebody that is in my corner that continues to be there because I've heard from a lot of people talking about their journeys that it can be incredibly lonely. And so it's just, I feel extremely fortunate to have a friend who I knew before the journey pretty well and who was like, we started at the same time and we're still continuing and we're still growing together. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. And again, I'm so thankful for it because when it comes to people, I am not necessarily easy to maintain. I feel like I'm either extremely easy to maintain a relationship with or difficult to maintain a relationship with. Honestly, because I am the type of person that is like continually progressing, continually moving forward, continually healing and stuff like that. Anyway, I don't even know why I talked about that, but shout out to her, I guess. Why did I talk about that? Why did I bring her up? Oh, yeah, because like I guess like there are some things that I've done for her. She's like, you remember that reading that you did for me at the beginning of the year? I was like, yeah. She was like, well, sometimes. She was like, you remember when you pulled this one card for me? And I was like, uh, and she's like, well, here it is several months later. And it's starting like it hit, it's starting to resonate. I was like, oh, snap. And then after the end of the conversation, then I'm like, oh, yeah, I did pull that for you. I remember now. They continue to unfold. And again, like that's also the type of relationship that I have with spirit. So when I read, I carry that energy. And the energy that I carry, it's an energy of self discovery. It's an energy of illuminating the things within the self that need to be illuminated so that we can resolve it and move forward. This is why I started reading cards for myself, literally to bring light to the things that I could not see or that I was too afraid of to even like open those doors. And then lastly, I'm the type of person that if an energy feels ambiguous or if an energy feels like it should not be pried into or tapped into, then I won't do it because I understand that some things are meant to be experienced fresh, and that if we go into those with a certain mindset, it influences a space that should not be influenced. Because then it's like, let's say you make a decision because someone told you to make that decision and you don't go through the full decision making process in your mind. Now there are these certain things about yourself or about the situation that you were supposed to have gone through the process of discovering within yourself, but we sort of short circuit, shortcut, circumvent that decision making process. And you go, oh, like somebody said that this would happen. So I just choose this. But now let's say you come across another choice, another decision, another fork in the road that either A is similar to the first one or that builds off of the first one. And because you didn't go through that, since you didn't go through the whole decision making deliberation process, excuse me, there are these things that you were kind of sort of supposed to discover within that space that you didn't. So now it makes it more difficult to come to the next step because you sort of cheated the first one. And I don't necessarily believe that we have the ability to do that. Like if we come across the information, then we're probably supposed to have the information. But that's just one of the reasons why I don't pry personally, because I do believe that there are certain things that are just meant to be experienced, certain things that are meant to be kept in the dark that we learn when it comes time for us to learn them. And so because of all of that, and because I've always been more like it's more or less always been who I've been. I feel like I've always had this internal dialogue with spirit or with myself before I really called it spirit or whatever. That it was just like, I don't understand this or I don't understand that about the world, about people, about how this is working. I don't understand why things are so dense when they don't have to be. I don't understand why hurt people. Because if you know how much it hurts to be hurt, why do we then hurt others? And then that connection evolved. And then when it came to, for me personally, with religion, it was like, I don't like what I'm hearing and what I'm experiencing doesn't align with what I for myself know to be true or that I believe to be true or that I feel. And so I've always kind of sort of had this relationship with hierophant energy at the very least, where I didn't completely buy into it. Now, when it came to shadow side energy, some of that was like, will enter like all of this self, like I'm gay. And so I grew up in a church that wasn't necessarily accepting and in a religious family and around people who are selectively religious. It's like you want to be religious when it comes to not even but like homosexuality in general and all of these other general things. But when it comes to like living your life in a certain way, being decent or these other things, and it's like when we're only religious to justify certain biases that we already have. Anyway, so I grew up with a lot of internalized stuff like that, which is why I kind of held on to some of the shame for a little bit at least. But I was distancing myself from the higher finding energy because I'm like, something about this doesn't resonate with the truth of me. Why am I talking about all of this? Again, I think I was going somewhere with this, but I don't remember. Honestly, where was I going with that? I don't know. It's just kind of sort of always been me. That's the energy that I bring when I read, I guess. And it's not that like I'm not able to do things in other ways, but I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Let's just look at these and then call it. So we have the two of diamonds and the eight of diamonds, which is a 10 of diamonds, 10 of pentacles type of energy. A forced uprising, an ancient word that stirs ancient things to life, whispered. A complete set of instructions, a stubborn moth reborn as a firefly, a successful trip. This is interesting. And when it comes to a forced uprising, that was the energy of like two tectonic plates colliding. And in the space of their collision, it causes the earth to bend upward. Almost like the mountain. The mountain came out a few times in the tower, didn't it? Yesterday. It was the mountain. No. Was it the mountain? I know it was the tower and home. Maybe it was the stars, the tower and home. Or was it the mountain, the tower and home? I don't think the mountain was up there. Anyway, the mountain card came out a few times. And it's like this energy of one fixed energy meeting another fixed energy. And when they collide, it creates this insurmountable blockage, this barrier that we can't lower, this obstacle that we can't overcome because it's two fixed energies. One will not give to the other. That was that forced uprising. It wasn't like, anarchy or rebellion or anything like that. It was just two fixed energies. I mean, it could be the same. And then we have an ancient word that stirs ancient things to life, whispered. And that is this energy of almost the space of all of those subtle changes. But since it's not shouted or even spoken, it would be really, really easy to overlook or to not notice some of the things that are coming into being. And then we have a complete set of instructions, which to me is saying that like spirit is giving us all we need to know. It may not be all that we want to know, but that spirit is giving us all that we need to know. And the stubborn moth reborn as a firefly, the solar plexus energy did come out again today with illumination. So if solar plexus is, well, no, let's do it the other way. If illumination is the fire and we are the firefly, then it's like this, the light of illumination can spark our solar plexus to activate more fully to the point where we sort of come out as this firefly energy, where we hold and produce this light within ourselves. It's almost like when the going gets tough, the tough get going type of energy. It's like the energy of when the rubber meets the road with this forced uprising. Because maybe it's for us to not be malleable or submissive for the first time and to not just accept what the circumstances and conditions in life are dealing us. Because it feels like there is this energy. Where is my phone? I need my phone now. I need my phone now, please. I guess I could maybe look it up on the. I'm trying to see what the Lenormand correspondence is for the 8 of diamonds. And I might have my tabs transfer. Like my tabs might be on both. They are not. I don't think it's on Safari either. Oh, wait, I think it is. Okay. Not. I think it is not. But on Chrome, I should be able to look at my history. And then on my history, yeah, here's the tabs that are open on other devices. Okay. Here we go. Thank you. There it is right there. I love technology. I love it. Because I didn't have to go searching for this all over again. It is just right here. So the 8 of diamonds is the key. Openness, revelation, unlocking, achievement, liberation, Liberation, resolution, positive, and long lasting. And the key was literally the first card that came out yesterday. And the lady came out after the key. Ten of Diamonds is the book for curiosity's sake, since we have the 8 and the 2. But it's the key. So this is the energy of the key. And again, like next time I make a different set of cards, I'll probably I might do it a little bit more intentionally. I'll first, gosh darn sure, put on the card what the Lenormand correspondence is, because I could have literally put it under the number 8 right there. But I didn't. I didn't like when I didn't know a lot of stuff. It just happened to work out beautifully and gorgeously. And I love when the energies like align to either like a tarot minor correspondence or the energy of the Lenormand. So a complete set of instructions, a stubborn moth reborn as a flame, reborn as a firefly, and a successful trip in the energy of the key. So it does kind of sort of, with the successful trip and the key, it sort of feels like we're destined for success in this area, or at the very least, we are successfully navigated toward this key or this door slash keyhole. And we have everything that we need to unlock whatever it is that we need to unlock and to go forward. But there is this energy. Scorpio season. It's almost Scorpio season. The sun is about to slide into Scorpio. A stubborn moth reborn as a firefly. That's that internal transformation where we are exuding light instead of just being attracted to light. And it's like, since we have our own light, we're no longer attracted to these false lights, to this Hierophante type energy, because we've resolved it within ourselves. And then it's almost like that's this forced uprising energy. It's like the energy of an elephant or Lord Ganesha when it erects barriers to protect or to guide, because it can overcome any obstacle, but it can also place obstacles. And that's this energy here of placing obstacles that it makes us more impervious to our environment and the external. It's like at the end of our shadow work, these walls come up around this flame that becomes the lantern. It's like the glass of the lantern that becomes the handle of the hermit. But this is the creation of a new flame, because we had one when we went to the center. Like, we had to have one lantern to navigate through the darkness with that hermit journey, right? And so this energy, this ancient word that stirs ancient things to life whispered, it reminds me of Lock and Key on Netflix. This is already longer than I thought it would be, but not going to complain about it. Of how they followed these whispers to find the magical keys. And the keys could only be given, they could not be taken. And it reminds me of the message from Liberation. Was it Liberation or was it Empowerment? That our power can't be taken, we can only give it away. And I think that's what Hierophant energy is supposed to be. Hierophant energy is supposed to be the fire. There's my phone. Where is it? I just heard it ring. Here it is. I just found it. So let's see. Thank you for helping me find my phone. I'm going right to my app, Time Nomad, to see how far. It's like, I think it's like an hour and 10 minutes roughly until the sun crosses into Scorpio. Let's go down to Scorpio. Where the moon at? Where's the moon? Oh, the moon is in Aquarius. The moon is almost in Pisces. No, that was a long time ago. Let's go to the current date and time. Yeah, the moon. So the moon right now is between Jupiter and Pluto. It's 21 degrees Capricorn. Um, yes. I was like, hold up, hold it. Some don't look right. So we are 29 degrees and 56 minutes Libra. I'm so excited for the sun to go into Scorpio, y'all. Don't ask me why. 1 hour and 30 minutes until we are officially in Scorpio season. If there's anything Libra that you want to clear up before the sun officially goes into Scorpio, you got an hour and a half to do it. So that would be roughly 7 o'clock Eastern time, 6 o'clock Central, roughly USA, Thursday, October 22nd. So back to this. It's like Hierophant energy is supposed to be the lantern that we take into our own darkness, and then we discover our own light. But it's like we replace that light with Hierophant energy. And so we never fully discover ourselves or discover what lies at the heart of us necessarily. And again, some people do go beyond, right? They go beyond just the text or just the book. And it doesn't even have to be organized, structured religion. It can be spirituality. It can be things that are unorganized, but it's these things that we give all, it's like sole credit and responsibility of self-discovery to, right? It could literally be your birth chart in astrology. It could be like literally anything. And it's like, it's very helpful to illuminate certain things, but eventually you're going to have to get to the actual core of who you are outside of whatever system, because it's my personal belief that nothing that man can conceive of has the capability to fully define or give access to the intricacies of one's soul or of the greater creation itself. And that's why personally, like I like astrology. I love astrology. I'm always like, yes, like it's this, and that. But eventually at a certain level, we go beyond that. And for what the energy was in the past, for what the energy is that we're transitioning out of, it was sufficient to do a lot of stuff. But for what we're coming into when it comes to really getting to know the self, eventually we have to come to this space where we discover our own fire. We use one fire to discover another, right? That was like the hermit going to the heart of the source of the river of energy or whatever, and unblocking things as it goes. And at the source of this hermit's own river, it discovers this other body of water that flows between everyone. But a lot of times we didn't have the time to do that level of work. And here comes 2020 to give a lot of people time and motivation to handle some of the nitty gritty, dark and dreary stuff, and to go to the source. And I feel like as we go to that source, that authentic source, and we hold this energy of self love and self acceptance, and as we integrate our light and shadow, it fixes us into this impermeable force that when met with opposition or when met with things that don't resonate, It's these two fixed energies, this old Hierophant energy and this new Fool energy, I guess. Don't ask me the name. It's these two fixed energies and it creates that mountain. And so we're on multiple sides of our lives in multiple areas. It creates this circular mountain thingy that becomes the glass that protects our new flame, the true flame. And then we trade the old Hierophant's lantern for this new lantern that we discover and create at the heart of our very being. And that's the energy of this moth that's reborn as a firefly. Because now, instead of being drawn to something or someone else's light, we come into the space of embodying our own. And with the complete set of instructions, it's like everything that we need to do this, we already have. It's sort of like whether or not you'll use the instructions to do it, to liberate and free yourself. What's at the top? Higher Perspective 21 is at the top of the deck. I'm going to read Higher Perspective. This is the Cosmos Awakening and Unity. The Cosmos Awakening and Unity with liberation right there. Seems pretty fitting to me. Where'd that book go? Okay. Excuse me. 21. So this image is connected with the sonic purple color ray. Oh, snap. Higher Perspective resonates to peace and serenity and the soul's connection to the cosmos. It purifies and clears confusion about the soul's place in the universe and assists the soul with feeling allied with a greater purpose, and a higher power. It helps with delivering fresh vantage points into challenging circumstances and reminds all beings to perceive situations from a higher, more celestial perspective. The cosmos is asking that you see your situation from a higher perspective. Perhaps you've been too focused on trying to solve your problem from only one point of view and need to ask the universe for assistance in bringing you a new outlook. That energy echoes back to one of the energy oracle cards that I saw recently when I did on the Legacy channel a few days ago, I believe. I did the Pride Tarot and the Wild Unknown Tarot and I just saw this video because I changed the thumbnail like yesterday or the day before, with the Wild Unknown Tarot and the energy oracle cards in the middle. And it spoke to patience, I believe. I believe it spoke to patience in the energy oracle card about not being so fixed on one solution. And that's something that I've been experiencing in my own personal life. I've gotten really, really, really good at manifesting food, apparently. If I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I really want this food today, by the time dinner time comes around, we have it. And I've been seeing a lot of commercials. Also, I can be a little bit of a sheep. I've been seeing a lot of commercials about the pretzel bacon pub cheeseburger at Wendy's. And I'm like, you know what? I want to try it. And so I went to the store with my brother, I think the day before, or a few days before, and I was like, we haven't been to Wendy's in a long time. And then he came into my room the next day or that day, and I was like, man, I'm wanting Wendy's. Like, I want that new pretzel bacon burger. And I even got on their website and I'm like looking at how much it costs. I'm looking at all the ingredients that are on it to know, like, I don't want it with this. I don't want it with that. If anyone goes, I want to say, like, no this, no that. But fun fact, I've gotten to the point where I can eat food as it is. I don't have to say no lettuce, no tomato, no onion anymore. Which for me is interesting because I've wanted that experience where I don't have to be so picky with my food to say like no this, no that. And also I'm very forgetful. So I will go to a place and I'll forget to say no this, no that, no the other thing, and then I'll get it with all of that on there. And wasteful, shameful me. I don't have to shame myself. I'm literally talking about not doing that. But I do need to be conscious and cognizant and aware at the same time. So we still need to be conscious of how we impact and influence others. Like just because we're resolving our own shadow or getting rid of devil energy and hierophant energy doesn't mean that we devolve into these lawless beings or whatever. Um, it's that, anyway, it's not about that. Um, but no, I would forget all the time, and then I would throw the food away. I was like, this has mustard on it. It has onions, or because I'm very big on like certain flavors, and if the food was prepared with it, even if I take it out, I can still taste it. Like celery is one of the strongest flavors I've ever tasted in my life. It's like no matter how little celery is in something, all I taste is celery. And I was eating like I never was able to figure out why I didn't like the chicken flavored ramen noodles. And one day I accidentally got it. It was like last year. When I was getting more in tune with myself, also my tongue and my taste buds were starting to do these weird things. And eventually I ended up liking vegetables. So hey, it was a process of growth in that too. Last summer. But I was like, I never knew why I didn't like the chicken flavor. And one day I accidentally got the chicken box instead of the beef box, and I'm eating it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I know why I don't like this. It tastes like there's celery in here. It tastes like there's celery. And so I read the ingredients, and for the flavoring packet, it was like celery seed, or like it was like crushed celery seed or celery salt or celery seed oil or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is why I don't like it. I tasted the celery. I was like, anyway. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. We just in full flow mode today, I guess. So we get all the random thoughts that come into my little Mercury and Pisces retrograde brain in the 12th house. My Mercury is lost in retrograde in Pisces in the 12th house. Mercury doesn't like to be in the 12th house or in Pisces. My Venus is lost in my 12th house in Aries because Venus doesn't like to be in Aries either. And my 12th house is literally, it's inconjuncted. So I have all of Aries in my 12th house. I have one planet that doesn't like to be in Pisces in my 12th house. And I have another planet that doesn't like to be in Aries in my 12th house. And the 12th house is already associated with the energy of like, asylums and prisons and stuff like that. And I'm like, here are these two planets that don't want to be here. But here they are in my natal chart. Anyway, um, I don't remember. Oh, I'm getting really good at manifesting food. So I was going through all of that. Like I look it up, like how much does it cost, like what all comes on it. And then I had literally just told my brother like the day before we never go to Wendy's anymore. But later that day, that same day, I get a text from my mom. Do you want Wendy's? And I'm like, oh my gosh. Why can't I manifest paid bills? Why can't I manifest money? Why can't I manifest, a place of my own so I don't have to be at home? And it literally happens so often where I'll be thinking of a food and either it just shows up or my mom is like, hey, do you want this for dinner tonight? And I'm like, yes, I've been thinking about this all day. And so I went to bed. I even made a tweet. And so I went to bed thinking about some stuff and I literally woke up the next day. And one of the things that I haven't been super worried about it, but it has consciously been on my mind. Because I'm like, this is something that I have to take care of now, and I don't have the means to take care of it. And I'm not feeling led in any strong way towards one thing or the other. Like this is a need that I have that it needs to be met. But I'm not feeling led in any direction or another towards how to fulfill this need. And I had all of last year to practice. Um, and it's like I'm not like freaking out about it, but again, it's consciously on my mind. I'm like, spirit's going to provide in one way or another. The need will be met in one way or another. And especially since I'm not feeling like anything is a solution, I guess I'll hold off. And I woke up to an answer. I woke up to a solution. And so low key, maybe that was spirit like you can manifest more than a burger from Wendy's and a pizza from Little Caesars. It ain't excuse me. It ain't even like what Portillo's, do they do pizza? I don't know. It ain't even like fancy pizza. It's literally like cheap Little Caesars pizza. It's like you can do more than manifest food, my guy. Here's the answer to this other thing that you've been manifesting. And I'm like, thank you, Spirit. I needed that. I needed that. I didn't really need it, but the confirmation was nice. It was very nice. And that's why I started talking about, yeah, because needs being met in, and also, was it the Four of Pentacles last time I used the Archangel Power cards? I think I saw it. It was like your needs being met in magical and unexpected ways. And I've also been saying, and maybe that's another confirmation, that our abundance doesn't come from people, our abundance doesn't come from the jobs that we work. Our abundance comes from this energy that resonates at a frequency much higher than that. And so we don't have to be so overly focused. I know it's very human and very logical and practical, very air and earth makes sense, that if you have this need, you have to do something to fulfill it. And it's not that we're not doing things, but again, spirit can fulfill these needs for us. I've been saying it and it was proven to me. And you can get more than just a pizza or a burger. But I do have a Taurus moon in my first house. So maybe that's why food, and my Mars is in Cancer. So maybe that's why food was like, one of the easiest ways to get me to believe. So whatever your rising sign is, potentially, whatever your rising sign, maybe that's how spirit will prove itself to you. So let's say I'm a Taurus rising. Let's go to the other end of the spectrum, and let's say that you're a Scorpio rising, right? And so maybe there's something that you're trying to manifest, but you're seeing it's difficult. Now, if you're a Scorpio rising, it's interesting because Scorpio is an energy associated with transformation. And so I feel like that's more of a reminder of like, remember this one thing that you thought you would never do. Well, boom, now you're doing it. You're not uncomfortable, whatever. You've transformed in this way. You've transformed in that way. Like your situation transformed in one way or the other. What makes you think that it won't happen again? Let's say that you are a Gemini rising. This is tough. But let's go with that primary education, primary and secondary education aspect of Gemini, right? So let's say that there is something that you're manifesting. Let's say that it's not necessarily a job, but let's just say that there's something that you're manifesting, but you don't feel qualified, right? Maybe it's like you have a degree, but your degree isn't in this area. Like you meet the minimum requirements, but for what they prefer, you don't have it. And so you psych yourself out. And maybe it's like you come across this other experience where someone asks you to do something that you don't know how to do. And it's like, you learn, you pick things up quickly, and your brain is like, it has sponge like material. It has sponge like affinities where you just soak up information, or you're able to figure it out. And then it's like, the same way you were able to figure that out, you'll be able to figure this out. And then like that's where it starts. It starts with you figuring things out, or it starts with you manifesting the information or the ability, the circumstances to figure certain things out. And then like it starts there for you to get you to get, and actually it's probably more related to your moon sign than your rising sign now that I think about it. Maybe it's both. I don't know. Mine are in the same place, and I'm trying to extrapolate this so that it may be relevant to somebody else. Whatever way, whatever sector of life that you more effortlessly manifest, like allow that to prove to you that other things are also possible, right? It's not like, well, I did say that. I was like, why is it that I can only manifest? I was semi joking, semi serious. This is like a whole hour almost long. Anyway, I'm sorry. I just ramble. It's a rambling day today, apparently. Um, but it's like allow that to be proof and evidence to you that other things are all like spirit can also manifest other things for you. But again, there are going to be times where we have to step up and we have to do something. For example, I've been waiting over a month for these people to call me back and to schedule an appointment with me because I was told that these people they'll reach out to you. And so the other day I had to contact somebody for something and I was like, "Oh, and by the way, I still haven't heard back from those people who are supposed to reach out to me." And then apparently she sent out an email and they were like, "Yeah, like he needs to reach out to them." And I'm like, "Girl, I could have did this a long time ago. I could have did this a month ago and I already had this part figured out." But there is a greater part of me that understands timing. And it's about being led. It wasn't yet the time for me to go through with this or to do this or to experience a look because well, I keep hearing that November is going to be big for some folks. First it was September and Libra season, but then it was like, well, actually, maybe it's more of the foundation now. And there's been a lot of things that continue to happen, not necessarily to as extreme of a degree as it may be happening in other people's lives, admittedly, but also it's for me, it's been steady concentrated efforts. So it's not necessarily always things that are like huge because it's things that I do progressively. And I don't need for them to necessarily be as large and to shake things up as much when I'm a little bit more malleable. Anyway. Anyway, let me read this. Let me finish reading this. Just know that maybe spirit is trying to prove itself to you in some ways. Not to say that that's all that you're capable of, but it's like, hey, it happens in the areas that you have the least resistance, right? Food is a necessity. Do I have to eat this pizza? Do I have to eat this burger? No, but I do have to eat something. So just like that need could be met in unexpected, synchronistic ways, so too can my other needs be met. But I have a lot less resistance when it comes to food. So it's time to lower the resistance in other areas as well. But also not to forget to act in alignment or to act when I am prompted to act. And it's not to forget to be still when I'm prompted to be still. Because sometimes it's like that too many chefs in the kitchen type of energy where we have our hands so far in it that spirit can't even come in and guide things in the way that it needs to be guided because we're creating these obstacles. And maybe that's this as well, or a different application of this energy where we're creating these obstacles because we're so in control mode and so in like, I need this lack mentality mode that it creates obstacles towards this transformation. But eventually, the successful trip is eventually we navigate to that space. Eventually, we get to the keyhole where we put in the key and we unlock the door. And then eventually, we open the door and then eventually, we walk through the door. Now, for some people, open or unlock, open, and walk through is one seamless motion. Sometimes we have these different resistances to overcome in these different steps or incrementally or whatever. Let me just finish this. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not sorry. I'm not. I don't apologize. You ain't gotta watch this, so I don't have to be sorry. The cosmos is asking. I'm going to start all over from the beginning of the oracle interpretation because it's been such a long ramble. The cosmos is asking that you see your situation from a higher perspective. Perhaps you've been too focused on trying to solve your problem from only one point of view and need to ask the universe for assistance in bringing you a new outlook. Expand your ideas into brighter and bigger ventures. Think big. You are awakening, and new ideas will be coming forth that are of a higher, cleaner vibration. This is a time of full expansion and attracting very high frequencies. Sugilite and lepidolite are the crystals with basil or basil being the essential oil. For that, what was that? I already forgot. Oh, I literally opened right back to it. Higher perspective, right? That was higher perspective, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Literally opened right back to the page. Why did I look at higher perspective? Does anybody remember why I looked at higher perspective? What is this? Hold up, wait. Okay, I'm a little slow right now. Why did I look at higher perspective? Oh, because it was right there at the top of the deck. All right, I forgot. That's how long that ramble was. Bottom of the deck is the Ace of Diamonds. Chain links, a divine codex. An arrow pierces the heavens and breaks the clouds. Love that energy. But again, when the arrow pierces the heavens and breaks the clouds, whatever rain is already stored in these clouds, it's going to fall. And so there's going to be this cleansing, purging period, this releasing period as the clouds are breaking. And then at the same time, simultaneously, the sun will be coming out, which will probably bring other tears, tears of joy. I'm going to look and see what the Ace of Diamonds is really quick. Oh, I have my phone now. Where's my iPad? Ace of Diamonds might be the anchor. It might not be. Ace of Diamonds is the sun. Happiness, victory, success, power, warmth, truth, positive, day, and sunrise. So there's the sun. I said, as the clouds break and the sun comes out, well, there's the sun. I love that. I love that sun energy here with the Ace of Diamonds as we're breaking the clouds and clearing the heavens. So I'm just going to put these. No, I'm not going to just put these away. But I'm not going to get a final message either. I'm just going to shuffle these, and I am going to get a final message because I might as well, right? Oh, this was longer than I expected, but that's fine. This is the Hierophant. This is a space for me to just talk and be with a little bit less concern than on the Legacy channel. Not concerned, but where I give myself permission to go a little deeper, more consistently at the very least. Like if something comes out over there, I'm not going to be like, "Ooh, I'm going to save that for the other channel." I'm not going to do anything like that. It's just a little bit more palatable, a little bit more bite-sized pieces. Intention. Jack of Hearts is the card that came out, an inn that welcomes weary travelers, a hot tub that soothes all of one's worries, and a sly grin. Bottom is the Queen. Wow. Jack of Hearts into the Queen of Hearts. A candle burning on both ends. Inversion. A revelation of self. And accountability. That's interesting because I feel like that kind of came out. Self-realization, maybe? I don't remember. Let's pick this thing back up. And let's see what those are. The Jack of Hearts is the heart. The Queen of Hearts is the stork. That's literally a change of heart. Those two together. But it's like a stork change is like a rebirth type of change. It brings in, it's a baby. It's new energy, new potential. But it's still potential, right? You got to do something with it. Love that. The heart and the stalks. The stalk and the heart. Yeah, man, I wish I could. I think I do want to do like a different version though. I do want to do like a love version, ones that are more relationship focused, and just like another general version as well. And I think I'll have different backgrounds for the cards too. And of course, on the new ones, I would put the Lenormand correspondence on there so I don't have to look it up every time. But that took me like 2 days. It took me 1 day to do half. The first day was grueling. The second day, it came a lot easier. And then I did it over 3 days. But after I took all the pictures and stuff, came up with all the messages, took all the pictures, and then I assembled them in a day. And I placed the order for the cards in that same day. And then I was out for like a week. I was just completely drained for like a week after I did that. And that's what I was like when I uploaded that video where I was like, I'm like drained. I was like laying on my bed. Like I had just finished that. So, but I do want to do it again. What is this? Inspirational creation, number 24 at the bottom of the deck is alchemy, the elements, and innovation. Now, it might have been on the Legacy channel. It might have been here. I don't remember. I think it was in Liberation where it said that the elementals are ready to work with you or something like that. It was recently, but the elementals are represented here with alchemy and innovation. Innovation reminds me of inspiration because I said innovation. I was like inspiration, innovation with that Page of Swords on the Legacy channel for illumination. And the cards that we had there, 3? Really? What? And I mentioned the Nine of Wands earlier with empowerment because the cards that came out with the Page of Swords was the Nine of Wands and excuse me, I don't remember the other card. I don't remember the other card. It was the Nine of Wands and something else. Anyway, there's another tie back to the reading I just did. And I talked about alchemy. The alchemy was the polymerase chain reaction, PCR chemistry, replication. So we have forgiveness, emergence, and isolation. I'm actually going to take these the other way, though. Well, so there's this forgiveness, emergence, isolation energy where we have to go into this internal space, or we have to really do a lot of internal work when it comes to like the releasing of certain burdens with forgiveness. And as we emerge in this new space, before anything else is necessarily there, there is this period of isolation. It's like when we hold this new frequency and when we're in this space of waiting for more of those new things to be attracted to us. And as we pass on old things, now, if we don't pass on old things, then we probably continue to attract old stuff. So a little bit of isolation kind of sort of is necessary. Because if we continue to make those Seven of Cups like lateral choices, we don't make any progressive choices closer to the 10 of Cups. It's like we keep dancing around the 7 instead of getting closer to the 10, right? Because that's the 8 of Cups walking away. When we come into a higher frequency, it's like none of these options are long. If there are no suitable options, then it's like these options are no longer suitable. I'm going to walk away from every single one of them with that 8 of Cups and instead of trying to make the best out of a bad situation. That's you choosing yourself and choosing to align to what you know to be true rather than kind of sort of making these lack decisions like, oh, this is the best of what I got. And then you come into the 9 of Cups where you are more fulfilled within yourself and in prime position to not only attract but also accept that final Ace of Cups that leads you to the 10. But it's like you hold the Ace of Cups, you accept the Ace of Cups already having 9 cups behind you. So it's not necessarily like you're because that's how I felt it before in the past. It's like, you accept this ace and then you build up towards the other 9. You acquire the other 9, which leads to a 10, which isn't necessarily incorrect, but you also have to be at the space of a 9 so that when you accept an ace, it becomes the 10. Because otherwise, you're just at like the 2 or the 3 or the 8 if you're at a 7. But then that's an 8 of Cups that you got to walk away from. But also, I feel like there's this isolation, emergence, and forgiveness energy as well, where in order for us to emerge out of these sort of isolatory states, we have to experience forgiveness. I guess it kind of sort of works. If you read it either way, it's the same energy. Bottom of the deck, again, is inspirational creation. Creating from that alchemized state, from that alchemized space, no longer just like, oh, this was the best of what I got before, so let me go back to that. It's like, nah. I fully 100% realize that as everything stood, as everything in my past played out, there is nothing that fully aligns to what it is that I'm aligning myself to. Now, there are things that have growth potential, sure, But growth potential is just potential. And I'm coming into the space within myself of realizing that potential. So if it ain't realized, I'm not going to let it hold me back anymore. I wouldn't do that to myself. I did not go through a journey of learning self love to prioritize something that ain't even, nah. I'd rather chill and wait for something that is me. So, anyway, I'll catch y'all later. I hope y'all have a good whatever whenever you see this, and I hope you're acting in alignment to make the best possible case your actual reality, or at least better, right? Or at least better to make better your reality. All right, I'll catch y'all later. Bye. See you later. Have a good one. Auf Wiedersehen.